One of my favorite shows lately has been the brand new show called Carl the Collector from PBS Kids. I actually like it so much that I want to watch some clips with you and talk through why I think this is super valuable for young kids, but also for older kids and even adults to spend time watching and discussing. But before we get into it, we have to talk about how the show was created. Something I really do love about PBS Kids is all of the work they put into making shows authentic and representative. Now, we know this work is never perfect, but I appreciate the ways that PBS Kids works to center diverse perspectives and expert voices in show development. In the case of Carl the Collector, the show's creator is autistic and has spoken about how he brought his own experiences, perspectives, and goals into the show. He said in an interview, and I think this is so powerful, that if everyone could be exposed to the full spectrum of humanity at an early age, everyone could benefit. The show is also guided by content advisors Dr. Stephen Shore, a professor at Adelphi University, an international recognized expert in autism studies, and Dr. Rebecca Landa, executive director of the Center for Autism Studies at the Kennedy Krieger Institute in Baltimore. And as usual, the PBS LearningMedia materials available for the show include a curriculum guide developed to align with Castle 5 standards for social emotional learning. So again, I love this about PBS Kids, that everything is grounded in research and best practice, and they're really intentional. But all that said, I think the best way to get a sense of how powerful this program is to watch it. So we're gonna check out a clip from an episode titled The Fall. In this episode, Carl is playing with his friend Nico when she trips and falls, and Carl freezes, and the story takes off from there.
Yes, it's Carl.
So we've got this really cute funky intro for Carl the Collector that I really adore. The kind of main gist of the show is that Carl collects lots of different things. So we're seeing these different things that like he, attaches his identity to and is proud of and wants to share with his friends. I love the way that this show really works hard to break down stereotypes about neurodivergent people. Specifically this idea that like socializing is challenging because everybody has friends and everybody wants friends. I love also the way Carl often like narrates for us what's happening in a way like with vocabulary. Oh no.
Ow! Ow!
Okay. So he watched his friend hurt. Now this sequence here actually is really amazing to me. I think they did a phenomenal job using art here and animation to show what's going on in Carl's brain in this moment. He witnesses his friend fall, which is sad. He's like visibly upset by this, but he freezes and he's not sure what to do. Imagine how powerful to be able to show this to a young person who has experienced this or experiences this regularly. I think we all experience this, but especially we know with neurodivergence, there's opportunities where this happens a lot, where you experience something and you feel like you should do something, but you're really not sure what to do. To be able to visualize for kids like what's happening in your brain, or give them an opportunity to draw and illustrate what's happening during experiences like this.
Okay.
She's upset. She says, "Didn't you see me fall?"
Come on, Carl.
And he's like thinking now, trying to figure out like, how do I respond? What happened? And yeah, Nico's visibly upset, which is understandable. She got hurt and her friend didn't help her.
So what even
Okay, so now we get
I fell, crashed my tights,
Nico's
hurt my
perspective
knee,
here.
And Carl just stood there, staring. Why didn't he do anything? I'm sure he would have.
So she like is very clear. She's upset because, she thought this person was her friend. She got hurt. He didn't do anything.
I need to ask
What happened?
Nico a question.
I
don't want to talk to you, Carl.
And
think you're mad at me.
Carl is approaching and he's like being very clear and direct and trying to communicate and said, "Hey, it seems like you're mad at me, but I don't know what happened." He's trying to piece this together, which again, I think is a really interesting portrayal of like what happens between children and especially neurodivergent children. So we're gonna watch Carl then try to navigate how to figure out what's going on. And you see Arugula here, Nico's sister, try to help her understand, like, what's Carl's perspective and what's going on.
How was flying kites?
Okay, I love this part in the episode. Carl's mom sits down with him and is just trying to connect and talk about how the day went.
Look, what happened?
There's a real demonstration here of, the power of a trusted adult who really knows a kid, can dig into like, hey, here's what I know about you, and here's what I want you to think about and reflect on.
My kite
So he
is
explains what
red,
happened.
which I like because it's the same color as one of my
He gets a little
friends
distracted
when I
talking
play
about his
Parental.
kite and why he liked
That
it and his
reminds me-
collection, and he's
Let's
gonna
back to
go
the part
off.
about Nico and Arugula. What happened?
So,
But
yeah,
she,
you find
yeah,
kites.
again, I think
Nico
mom
really
is such a
wanted
great
birds
model
and
for
he
us
fell
as
down.
adults.
It
Like,
happened so
hey,
fast,
I love
didn't know
hearing
what
about
to
your
do.
kite, but let's focus on
I
what we
was
were talking
really
about.
scared.
I know
I
something's
think I
bothering
felt
you.
like I should
He's
do
expressing how
something
he
to help,
feels really
but I
directly.
didn't know what.
Got it. I think I understand what happened.
And then mom
why
jumps
you
in and
feel
says,
confused
hey,
about it.
it's okay. I think I get it.
I think you had a really
I know some
hard
things
time
about you.
figuring out what to do when Nico fell because your brain works differently.
Because I'm autistic?
Yes.
So this here, I think, is so important for adults, for older, even kids who are like caretaking with younger people. This kind of direct communication about what young people experience, and really clearly naming, hey, your brain works differently. You know, there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's a real directness about how we can sort of name what's happening and what you're experiencing, and the fact that you froze and you didn't know what to do in a new situation is real and valid. And young people can really benefit from being validated by adults that they trust, but also having adults help them understand and uncover what's going on. That can be really empowering. It can be really educational. And so this is one of the reasons why I think this show is fantastic, not just for young kids who are going to see themselves in Carl and Carl's friends, but for adults who should be watching Mom for advice about, like, how do we talk to all kids, and especially neurodivergent kids, about what they're experiencing and how we can walk them through understanding who they are and how that impacts their interactions with other people.
Yeah, I'm really good at
And he
remembering
says, yeah,
facts
I'm
about
autistic.
collecting
And here's what I'm really good at.
routines and my friends'
They've had this
routines.
conversation before,
But sometimes
and Mom
I
has been
need
validating
jokes
in the past
explained.
and has said, look,
Sometimes
you're
I
really
just
good
need a
at
little
lots
more
of things.
time
You
to
have great
understand new jokes
collections,
and
right?
new
You have a lot of knowledge
situations.
about certain
Nothing wrong
topics.
with that.
And
The thing with Nico's
new
son
situations
was
can be
new
tricky.
situation.
The thing with Nico happened.
seemed really angry at me.
It was new for you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's figure out what to do about
Maybe
it.
Nico's feelings were hurt when you didn't help her when she fell. In her mind, she might have thought you didn't want to help.
I also love here, there's no, excusing. It's not like, hey, it's okay that you didn't respond when your friend fell. Mom says, yeah, I can understand how Nico would be really upset and hurt by this as well.
Come to the door.
And Carl's able to understand that also. I think this is super powerful here too, that Mom isn't talking down to Carl, Mom isn't over-explaining. She's addressing the information in a way which is accessible for Carl, and also is empowering for him because he can handle understanding what's going on. He can handle this
Not
conversation.
want to be friends with me anymore. He's already a little mad at me.
Do you think that would happen? I mean, you've been friends with Nico for a while, and she likes you just the way you
I
are.
like the fact-checking that Mom is doing here also, because Carl's brain, again, jumps to, uh-oh, she's already mad at me. If I try to talk to her about this, what if she's more mad at me? What if she doesn't want to be my friend anymore? We all can start to do some of that spiraling, and especially with neurodivergence. And Mom jumps in and says, hey, let's take a look. You know, she's been your friend for a long time. You've been through some other stuff. I feel like this will be okay. This is another one of my favorite parts because Mom and Carl actually script through what he's gonna say. I love this demonstration of literacy for young people because he's drawing. You know, he's not writing, but he has a script that he can understand through images. And Mom is helping him to plan out what he's gonna say, which they both know is something that he needs. He might freeze, but if he has notes and images to kind of guide what he's already thought about, he's gonna be able to deliver it in a way that hopefully isn't gonna make the situation worse with his friend.
And time to respond. This is new for her too, just like the fall was.
Mom does such a great job of addressing Nico's perspective and how conversation should happen. And again, this is so broadly helpful for all of us because it's about communication, right? No matter how our brains work, no matter what we're experiencing, how upset we are, planning out communication, communicating clearly, leaving space for the other person to respond. These are general tips which all kids and adults can benefit from learning, from seeing modeled through this program, and from practicing.
I'm so confused.
We're back to Nico and Arugula's conversation here where Nico's now maybe not as angry, but still trying to understand what happened because she's hurt. And that's super valid too.
Maybe Carl thought if he moved me, I'd get more hurt. Like in that doctor's.
They're talking through what may have happened.
Stabilize the neck.
They have a snack, which I think is always really important for processing harm.
Top of the stairs. I wanted to know what Mom and Dad did after bedtime.
And Arugula is such a great companion here because she's bringing in something that has happened at another time, you know, and like, hey, you remember this moment? It kind of feels similar. I think that's a practice that's really beneficial for all of us and kids as well. Okay, so they're all in a group, they're riding past Carl's house and he wants to come. The other friends are like, yeah, come play with us. Nico runs past and Carl says, can't play right now, can't talk. I gotta go have an important conversation. I love that. Super characteristic, super, you know, I think a lot of kids are gonna see themselves in Carl.
Slow down! I need to talk to you. Nico, wait!
Okay, maybe not the safest way to stop someone on a skateboard, but we got there. He's gonna bring it up. Nico's still visibly upset and like humps and rolls away on the skateboard.
I fell in the park and Carl didn't help me. That's what's going on.
Hi, Nico. I'm sorry you thought I didn't want to help you when you fell. I wanted to help.
Well, you didn't.
Carl jumps in, leads with an apology.
What I was saying was,
Whenever we experience harm, one of the first things we want to hear is an apology, right? And then we can jump into a conversation. I think this is great modeling for kids to communicate.
Hi, Nico.
We have this beautiful graphic and animation again where we're inside Carl's head and seeing some of these like illustrated disconnected moments where he's got a script. He worked on this, he prepared it, but he's having a hard time accessing this. I think this image could be so powerful for kids who experience this, right? You know what to say, you know what you feel, but how are you able to access that? Sometimes it's hard. I would love to invite young people to illustrate what they're feeling in a way similar to this. Like, how do you conceptualize what it feels like to know something but not really be able to access it, not really be able to bring it into a conversation?
Nico, I do want to help.
He demonstrates some, techniques. He visualizes his mom. He finds comfort. He takes a deep breath. And then he recenters and is able to continue communicating.
My brain works differently than some kids. I'm really great at remembering facts about my collections and
this part is beautiful and powerful.
To understand what others are thinking and
He's sharing who he is with his friends, what he experiences, and some of the challenges he faces because he's autistic. And that deep breath, I mean, so many of us are going to be able to understand like what that feels like to really share who you are with people you care about and just have that release. And then his friends are like, oh, tell me more. What a great modeling of friendship here, right? Like, thanks for sharing that about yourself. What do you mean? I haven't heard of this. What else? Nico said, thanks for telling me.
I'm glad you
I feel better.
Yeah, Carl, that's actually pretty cool.
It's succinct. It's a TV show. It happens really quickly, right? Maybe in real life there's like more gradual moments. Maybe there's more intentional adult support in the conversation. Kids might not have all of this vocabulary to navigate this conversation, but I think providing this model that offers an ideal way to heal and to come back together when things happen between friends, that gets at the core of what this show is about, which is like, hey, Carl's a kid, wants to have friends, wants to have fun. His other friends have idiosyncrasies and curiosities and personalities just like all of us, and who we are and our identities and backgrounds impact how we interact with each other. And acknowledging that and recognizing that and communicating clearly about it is what is gonna help us be better together. They come back together, fist bump, and they're right back to playing kites. So one of my favorite episodes, there are lots of them. Most of them are available to stream online on pbs.org, pbskids.org, and YouTube. You can find these. And again, there are some really great educational materials that help educators and families understand how to engage with this and how to maybe use it, as well as like the research and background behind how this show was developed and why it can be really beneficial for everybody. So check it out. I had so much fun watching this with you. If you like it, if you have other feedback, if you noticed other things in the episode that you think would be helpful to talk about, leave us a comment. As always, if you had fun watching this with me, and I would love to hear what you think if you go and track down this show and watch it on your own or with the young people in your life.